Everything appears to be working. We're recording. Should be live on Twitch. It's Saturday and I'm yawning. Pre-stream stretch. Actually, it's not pre-stream because I am streaming. I'm live right now. I am live. Just checking things here. Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. My mic volume should be a little louder. Normal. Sorry, that clap might have been loud. And I'm not monitoring myself. Well, yeah, welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. All 0 viewers currently. We are doing some mediocre JavaScript game development today. It's a Saturday stream. A little out of band for me. I normally stream Mondays and Tuesdays, like the full day, full like work day kind of thing. That is Central Standard Time, work day. But today, just doing a little short stream. We'll see how I do. I tried to focus a little bit before going live, just to see if I could. Cause I'm feeling a little kind of foggy. I went for a nice 2.5 mile walk around the block. A lot of laps around the block. Earlier, because I thought, hey, you know, get the blood flowing in my brain and everything, and thought that would help me, you know, think clearly. But yeah, I don't know what it is right now. If I'm just a little demotivated or. But I don't know. I just feel like my head, because I want to work on the game. I want to work on it today, but I just feel a little like my head's a little swimmy. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But I had an offline follow. Retro MMO. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Really do. And yeah, just a little shout out for We Me to Go and Noise Minded for the raids from my last stream on Tuesday. I appreciate that. I really do. And got quite a few new followers for that. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Hopefully someday I can pay that forward. But yeah, where we last left things off with TraceRacer, things were looking pretty good. I mean, the game plays. There's a few kind of visual things that it could benefit from. I did have one somewhat, we got to refresh here. I did just now made this animation faster for over here. It was 300 milliseconds and I made it 200. Whoops. Just so it's a little, just so you can kind of see, well, it's a terrible color for this game. Just so you can see kind of the bubble you're supposed to pop sooner, I guess. So you can kind of use your peripheral vision a little bit more. So I can kind of be just looking here, glancing there out of the corner of my eye, but keeping my accuracy and aiming here. And it still needed a little bit of tweaking to kind of make things a little more clear. And colors will help with that too once we start using some real colors that vary. Because right now there's a lot of colors that end up very similar just because it's purely random, pseudo-random. Purely pseudo-random color generation, which, yes, that's not very good. But I mean, the game, as it stands, I mean, it's like the gameplay is kind of, I mean, 90% where it needs to be, I think. The other thing, I had an idea the other day after the last stream on Tuesday. The idea was it would be nice because the distinction between checkpoints and everything isn't super clear. I mean, I'm getting a little chilly. I was wearing this before and then I took it off. The distinction between when you hit a checkpoint or not. Because the way this game mode works is the bubbles are just randomly generated like a. Actually, right now I did 100. I did change that right here. Bubble count 100. So now it generates 100 bubbles for the whole game mode. So gotta fix the hood here. Okay. So it generates the 100 bubbles, and then the checkpoints. Every fourth bubble you pop is a new checkpoint, right? So if you screw up, you only have to go back 4 bubbles, worst case. So the thing I want there to be some distinction, some indication to the player to say, okay, you made it to the checkpoint, right? Without, yeah, there needs to be that distinction, but without. Well, I tried doing like a little indicator that I didn't end up liking because I just thought it didn't really make much sense. Like the context of it wasn't very clear. Like if I just showed this game to a new player, you know, they wouldn't really get it, I guess. So the one thing I'm thinking of doing now is bubbles you pop. So right now the bubbles you pop, they fade off into the black, and then they fade off, become invisible, right? But new bubbles coming in fade in from invisibility, right? From being invisible. But I was kind of thinking, what if instead of these ones fading off to be invisible, what if they just like go up and shrink really small, like to a really small size, but you can still, you still see like, oh yeah, this is a bubble that I popped. And that way, the one indicator of kind of the checkpoint would be, you see those go up, slide up, and then they're there. But once you hit a new checkpoint, then those ones like fly off. And then you start here from a new checkpoint, like fresh, with just the 3. You just see the 3. So like if I were to pop, you would see those 3 bubbles I just popped. Oh yeah. RGLA Snake Man, is this? Oh. Yes, this one is old. You remember this one from back in the day? This is an old hoodie. Probably slightly over a decade old, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, no worries. Hi there. Yeah, you're not interrupting. I think it's just you here today anyway. Plans today? Just this for now. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Well, we'll see how far I get with this too, because my brain is kind of whatever right now. But nice. Yeah, we works till 3. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I'll see how long I'm going here. But yeah, we'll have to do something soon for sure. Otherwise, if not. I don't even know what I was talking about before. It's not publicly available yet. I will. That's something I'm trying to get to right now. Oh, hey, my chat is working on. You can see my chat on the stream now. Nice. Definitely wasn't working the other day, but now it is. I don't know if what I changed to make it work, but nice. Yeah. Nice. I don't know when you were last on, but I've changed some stuff. I've changed some stuff now that it's you mean what webcam am I using, or the software? Because I'm just using the camera. Yeah. Yeah, because you knew I was using OBS, right? Or I'm using the new Streamlabs, or I'm using Streamlabs OBS now for the to do like the chat and whatever now. The camera is the Logitech C920S, C922S, C920S. I don't know where the box is. I put it away somewhere. It's an actual webcam. Did you hear me? Logitech C922, C920S. Yeah, but it was like you can't even find them online. It was like the last one at Best Buy, and oh yeah, sorry, yeah, you're a little delayed, I guess. Or you're seeing me delayed. No, I don't. I've never used Discord at all, but I'll have to think about setting that up. Yeah, I got to get all my specs and stuff on Twitch. Keyboard, mouse, monitors, cameras, computers, components, batteries, pencil, glass, wide mouth, the Kerr wide mouth, self-sealing. But you were asking about the link for the game. I'm trying to get to that point. I'm trying to get to the point where I just have it. Right now it's just running on like a local. I just have a little server on my own computer. So I'm connected to localhost up there. But yeah, my goal right now is to get this up publicly so some people can actually play it and just try it. Just try it out at least. You know, I'm not too far. I think right before you started chatting, I was just saying the gameplay right now is probably like 90% of what it needs to be. Like I just need to clean a couple things up. And the thing I was just talking about was, because right now I've got this thing just generates like 100 bubbles. Just generates 100 bubbles, and you just got to pop them all in order. But every fourth bubble you pop is a checkpoint, right? So if you mess up on bubble 50, you're not going all the way back to bubble 0. So every fourth bubble is a checkpoint. So like if I made it to a new checkpoint here just now, but there's no way I'm indicating that right now. So that's something I need to figure out exactly how I want to do it. Oh, so what I was saying originally, yeah, so like if you screw up, you go back to that checkpoint, but there's not really any indicator right now of what the checkpoint is, or like that you hit a new checkpoint or whatever. So like right now, these greens are terrible. So like right now, this green is the start of that checkpoint. So like as I play, new bubbles start to pop up, but if I mess up, I still go back to that checkpoint. So once I pop the 4th bubble, I'll finally go to the next checkpoint. So if I pop purple, now I'm on a new checkpoint. And now, can you even see that bubble there? That's like, it's like extremely bright. That's what I get for doing random colors. So that's something that has to be fixed obviously later. So like gameplay is like 90% of where I kind of want it to be for right now. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm not gonna. I'll tweak some things here and there, but I don't want to massage things till, you know, yeah. I want to get a link. I want to get a link up, like you said, so that people can try it out. You know, because it'd be cool if people tuning into the stream, you know, can actually try the game, you know, or would at least see some of it functioning. Because if I'm just sitting here typing, programming, blah blah blah, you know, I mean, I try to explain really things and show exactly what I'm doing, but sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to like just be typing stuff for like 2 hours before you can actually go back and look at something, and before you can go and play it in the game. So, but yeah, so my idea for kind of showing the checkpoints is, let's just start a fresh one here. Oh, again, terrible colors. So when you're at a checkpoint, you know, you'll see these 3 bubbles here. So I got to pop this one, then this one. Right now, those ones that you pop, they fade off into nothingness. So what I'd like to do is have those bubbles that you popped, but they could come back if you mess up, just kind of like shrink and go up here, kind of small, but like they're still kind of up above. Or, you know, somehow do something like that. So, and then once you make it to the next checkpoint, you would then, those bubbles would then, the little bubbles that you popped would then slide off into nothingness. So it'd be like, oh, great. Those ones are gone. You feel like you cleaned something out, right? I'm playing through whatever. And then, oh yeah, so to kind of, and also to make more sense of when, like if I mess up, the blue and purple come back, right? Because I'm going back to this first checkpoint, or, you know, I'm on checkpoint 0 because it's the beginning of the game. So you would see, you know, you would see the bubbles kind of small up here, and then if you messed up, then they would just slide back in. So it would kind of make sense that like, oh yeah, I didn't, you know, until I don't see little bubbles up here, I'm not at a new checkpoint yet. Or there's a potential that I will have, you know, if I screw up, there's a potential that, you know, I have some bubbles coming back that I'm going to have to pop again, right? So I had that idea the other day. I don't know if I'm going to implement it right now, but I do need to fix something that I found at the end of the last stream. Yeah, here I'm playing without messing up at all, and it just keeps going kind of simultaneously really nicely. Oh, I messed up there, but I was on a new checkpoint. But see, there's no way of knowing, because... And there's something, like as I'm, obviously you can't see where I'm looking right now as I'm playing this, and I'm not going terribly fast. But as I'm doing this, I'm kind of looking like right here. My eyes are like right here, and I'm kind of peripherally looking here and here. It's like I'm kind of aiming actually, like just kind of out of the corner of my eye, which I'd like to get my vision more looking here, so my mouse is really accurate. Or so I'm trying to be as accurate as I can be, as accurate as I can with the mouse. But I want this to be more of the peripheral thing. I want it to be distinct. That are you? Oh yeah, I was gonna say you're not colorblind, are you? Somebody in the somebody watching the other day said they were colorblind, and they were putting that in the chat. I was kind of, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what the solution would be for that. I don't know. I got to put like numbers on the bubbles or something. You actually are? I just asked you that. Are you colorblind? And then you... Sorry, that's probably loud. I bumped my mic volume up, or I have a little compressor going in OBS, and I bumped the output up a little bit. So that, sorry if that was loud. Red-green colorblind. That means you can't, that means you can see red-green, or you're like blinded from red-green. Oops. Oh, I'd have to look it back up. Gotcha. Wow, having the chat in here is nice. On screen. Maybe I need to just shrink this a little bit. Just a hair. Nice. Okay. Yeah, because my window. So stuff doesn't overlap. And I got a little overlap on the, oops. I got a little overlap here on the, you can't see with my cursor, but a little overlap on the recent follower thing there, a little ticker. Okay. All right. So, so one of the little bugs that I have right now, because I was lazy from last stream, was I wrote it down. Even last. I can kind of read that last bubble. Can I read that? Last bubble of checkpoint gets. Nope, not that one. The second one is what I want to look at first. Need to use bubbleProps for all properties. Okay. Yes, so that can't read. Oh, yeah, no worries. It's not that important. So my note was need to move bubbleProps for all bubble properties. So the issue with that is now it's actually not an issue right now at all, but if we slow these animations way down, we can get it to occur. So like right now, so like the positions of these bubbles as they slide in and out, because they're kind of shifting as you play and pop stuff, right? The positions of all those are, I have those stored in constant variables right now. Kind of like, yeah. So that way I can always refer to those positions. Because what I was doing before was actually I was setting the position. So like the middle bubble here, this ugly green, it has to go here and it has to grow bigger and move here like once I pop this one, right? I slowed the animations down to 3 seconds now, so these whole animations on the side take 3 seconds before they complete, because that way I can replicate this issue. So this really isn't an issue unless the animations are really slow, but it's possible you could still run into it in some cases. So this guy here slides up to become big here, right? So in some cases I'm using this constant. So like the radius of this guy is a constant. the opacity and everything. Well, the radius and the position, right? That's kind of what we care about here. We have to slide from this position up to this position and grow, right? So the animation has to take us from here to there and grow the size of the circle as well. So the problem is the way I was originally doing it was I was just, this one had, just knows, oh, this is the guy that comes before me. So I'm just going to take the properties of the guy that comes before me and use those. So that's bad because when the animation's really slow, these positions, if the animation is in the middle of if the bubble is in the middle of the animation and then this bubble says, okay, now I need to move to where this one is, while this one isn't in its resting place yet, then this one is just going to animate to whatever that position was at, So if I play like really fast here and mess up, these bubbles are all going to be just screwed up, right? Because they, at some point or another, they were copying the position of a moving bubble that hadn't quite finished its animation yet. So I just need to fix those. And that should be pretty straightforward because in our progress meter code here, we've got a one method, set target bubble ID. So that's the method that the marathon game object calls, or our game state object. That's the one keeping track of when a bubble's popped and if it was the right bubble. And then that tells our little progress meter, okay, this bubble was popped, or, oh, the player screwed up, so they're going back to this bubble. That's what happens. So basically, anytime we see these move to, size to, there's quite a few cases here where that happens because this handles all the from here up. This handles all the cases where the bubbles are either going up or down based on if the player's popping bubbles or messed up and the bubbles have to come back, right? So this one method handles all of that. And it's a little more messier. It's a little messier and annoying than I wanted it to be, but I've wrote some nice comments, so I should be able to know what I'm doing. This if statement here, okay, right here, this is if the player popped a bubble and we're going forward one, right? So all of these bubbles, let's refresh. All these bubbles need to slide up, right? This bubble was popped, slide it up. These bubbles should slide into the next position, and then one of the next invisible bubble, which would be this little guy here, is going to slide into this final position, right? So if we do it with a really super slow animation, you can see it happening right before your very eyes. There it goes. All right. So, and as I mess up, now it goes back, right? So the going forward, or we pop the bubble, slide the old bubbles out, slide the old bubble out, so we can see what's next. That's all just handled right in this if. So if our diff is positive, so the difference is the difference between which bubble ID we're supposed to go to next, or blah, 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 blah. So if diff is 1, that means we popped one bubble and we're moving forward 1. Otherwise, if we're going back, we screwed up. We're going back potentially 1 or 2 or 3 bubbles in our case. In the case of having 4 bubbles per checkpoint, that would be the worst case. So then this is the end of this else if here is if our if we're going backwards some, so if our difference was less than 0 there. Anyway, I think I do everything. Okay, so let's just double check here. I think our unwind thing here when we're going back, when the player messed up, when we go back, I think everything is good. So what we should see is this bubbleProps here in all of these little So the little orange here is our animation move to, fade to, size to. So the color moving, or the color fading, color would be either fade out, in or out, right, for bubbles that are sliding in from the end or sliding out from the top, out to the to nothingness, right? So that's this fade to. We've got move to, which is the bubble actually sliding its position, and then the size to is the bubble changing its radius, right? So that's where we're kicking off all these animations. So we should see everything past to each of these should be bubble props, something that's bubble props. Because bubble props is all those constant values that we want. And it looks like I did that. So I think, yeah, and I if I recall correctly, I knew this part was done. So it looks like we're good, because anytime we call these, we are using bubble props. Bubble props. Bubble props. But up here, we are not. So let's highlight bubble props again. Bubble props. Okay, so we've got a couple cases here where we're doing some animations here, and we're not using bubble props. We're referencing the last bubble. We're referencing a bubble position itself, and when I say a bubble position itself, it's referencing directly one of these other bubbles, which is what our problem is. Because when the animation is really slow, which I have it set to right now, 10 times slower than what I want it to be, we run into this issue because these bubbles. Hey, why did that work? I have to play like faster or something. There we go. Okay, so now it's just a mess, right? Because the bubbles were starting to reference positions relative, like, oh, I'm going to animate to my neighbor, but my neighbor, because the animations are really slow, my neighbor hasn't hit his final resting place yet, so I'm just going to animate to whatever position he was halfway animated between. So then that's where we end up with this horrible mess, right? And in the case of the animations being, I had them at 300 milliseconds before, and I tightened them up a little bit to 200 milliseconds because that felt a little better from a playing fast standpoint. But I lost my train of thought. Sorry, as I said before, I was feeling a little foggy. This morning. Which is no longer this morning. It's 1:45 p.m. for me. I didn't have lunch. Maybe that's the problem. I had some breakfast. I didn't have any lunch. Maybe I need like brain food, Anyway, am I home alone? No. Becca is upstairs. Better keep watching the camera in case I sneak up on you. Nice. That'd be creepy out of this black room here. So I was saying this, when the animations are really fast, which I tightened them up to 200 milliseconds is what I was saying. Right now they're at 3,000 milliseconds, 3 seconds, right? So over 10 times faster what they will be. So only then does this become a problem. But nonetheless, I still was lazy and did something that I didn't really want. Or I did something the right way, but I did it like 80% of the way. Like I did 80% of the work of the right way. So here we're doing the last 20%. We can see it right before our eyes here. So anytime we see these little orange move tos, we should be using the bubble props. So here we're good. We're moving to something from our bubble props. So this value doesn't change, right? The problem up here is I'm referencing a relative bubble that has I'm referencing its position directly, which if it's halfway through its animation, then I'm going to be I'm going to animate to the wrong place. But here, move to something with bubble props, that's good because this bubble props doesn't change. It's calculated once when we calculate the screen size and everything, and then it knows this is where I'm going forward. And until we resize the screen, which is something I have to also figure out how I want to handle like resizing everything. Because right now, if you resize the screen, the game doesn't resize with it. But anyway, I digress. We've got 3 cases here. Well, this one is okay technically because I'm fading to a magic number constant because I know it's going to be 1. So here we're moving to a relative bubble position, and here we're moving to a relative bubble position. So we need to fix that. Now, this here is, let's look at this top one first. Let's see if I can fix it before I need to go to the bathroom because I need to go. But oh, sorry, I bumped the mic stand. That was probably loud. Okay. All right. So we need to move to the correct bubble position. And this, so here my comment, which helps very nicely here is, okay, we don't need to worry about that comment. Animate visible bubbles up to the next position. So this loop is looping over last viz bub ID, which gets set and calculated here. Anyway, that last viz bub ID is, oh, wait, never mind. All right, no, I have to go to the bathroom. Sorry, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. All right, bathroom, little bathroom note here. Be right back. I need to actually come up with a sweet graphic in the scene and change it in OBS. That would be much better. Be right back. Zoom it in nice and tight. It should be nice and clear. Everybody can see it. Great. Mute my mic so you can't hear farts, and we'll be good. All right, we're back. We're back. Yes, I did wash my hands. Come on. I did. Bathroom's just like right there. You can probably still hear the toilet running with my new mic amped up mic sensitivity here. Oh, so let's just minimize that guy there. So, yes. This last viz bub ID. So, we are animating, we're iterating through the bubbles that should be visible. Oh, no, sorry. This would be, okay, so this case here, we're doing, so we can see we're doing the animations with a little orange, right? So we're doing some animations here, we're doing some here, we're doing some here. So we have 3 cases. This one, animate visible bubbles up to the next position. So bubbles that are currently visible that should still be visible. That would be, in the case of the way I have it configured right now, that would be these 2 bubbles, right? But I have it so I could maybe change this to 4 bubbles too. In fact, for sake of example, fine, I'll show you guys. If you don't believe me. There. Look, 4. Told you guys. Oh, that's kind of weird. All right. Yes, animations are slow. We're fixing that now. Don't worry. Don't worry. Drives me crazy, actually, because it feels really laggy that way. So, yes, you can change it to 4. So that's why I have some loops and some fancy stuff to just, you know, keep it nice and dynamic so I can tweak things later. Because maybe 4 will be the magic number. But right now, 3 feels really good. I like 3 here. Because I can plan ahead, hit 3 bubbles. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway. So, this first little loop here, we've got these 3 cases where we fire off some animations, right? So this whole if is handling if the player pops the right bubble, and we're sliding bubbles up, right? This bubble we just popped, it's got to slide off and become invisible. So up here first, we actually have a loop to loop over the visible bubbles that should still be visible. So that would be these 2 guys. This one needs to slide up to the next position. This one needs to slide up to the next position and grow, you know, right? Then here, this one's a little simpler. We just animate the bubble we just popped, slide that up. Actually, I could probably move this up to the top again. Yeah, let me do that. Because then it's kind of, I had it down because I think I had some variables before. Okay, that's good. All right. Yes, because I think I had some variables before that. Yeah. Well, I don't need to talk about that anymore. So now our loop up here. This is where we're kicking off the animation for the first bubble. This guy slides up, becomes invisible. Perfect. Then here, we have to do some fancy stuff, some checks, kind of annoying. But then we loop over each visible bubble, which would be these 2 guys, and we slide them up to the next 2 positions, right? So that's for bubbles. This little check is for bubbles that are visible, that should still be visible, right? They're not sliding off. They haven't been popped, so they're not turning invisible, right? And then down here is where we're setting up our new bubble. Because it hasn't been initialized yet. So we initialize the new bubble. Oops. We're initializing the new bubble and then fading it in from the ether, right? Oh, I have to refresh again. Okay. I don't like those colors. Okay. So then, yeah, we see orange just kind of slide in from the black, right? So So that's all well and good. I can't decide if I want my sleeves up or down. Because if I put them up, I'm actually a little cold. But when they're down, they're like so stretched out because this sweatshirt is 11, 12 years old. Enjoy. And then the sleeves, when they're dangling and everything, it's kind of annoying. All right, so yes, this handles all the new bubble position. Oh no, I knew that already. Okay. So once again, the problem we are fixing. So we can see the orange method calls there, here, and these 3 here, right? Not these ones, but these little groups. Move to, size to, you can probably read that, right? I have my fonts and everything scaled up. Move to, fade to. Yes. All right, that's probably good. Probably read that, all right? Okay. So in each of these move tos and fade tos, we should be passing something, this dot bubbleProps. We should be passing bubbleProps because those are our nice properties that don't change. Otherwise, when we're referencing our relative bubble positions, that's where we run into issues. So here, I'm referencing the last bubble, which is bad. That's bad. And here I'm doing the same thing. I do another last bub. Here I'm doing last B, last bub, different variables. But that's bad. That's where we're running into our graphical issues. Oh, sorry. Keep bumping that mic. All right, so here we're looping until I is less than or equal to, hey, do I use this I anymore? Yes, I do. Okay. That's why I did this little for nothing. I declared the I outside of the for loop. It's because I used the I again down here. Anyway, I should probably do something different about that, but it's okay for now. Don't worry. Don't worry. So when I don't know what I'm doing, I say so. And then it's followed by a long pause. Oh. I start, okay. Yeah, this is kind of the annoying thing here. Because I'm starting I with the ID. So ID is our parameter that comes in. Oops. ID is the parameter that comes in. So that's the bubble. Yeah, that's the new target bubble. So if we popped bubble 0, which would be this blue one, then 1 would come in the function. ID would be 1 in our function there. So we're looping from the ID up to the last visible bubble ID. Okay. Yeah, and that has to happen because, like, if you're at the end of the game, there's only 2 bubbles left. Oh, I'm hitting fat fingering keys all over the place here. So the reason why I got this last viz bub ID is because, like, when you're at the very end of the game and there's 2 bubbles left, I can't show a third bubble here. So it's got to limit how many bubbles are going to be visible on that, you know. That's annoying stuff that I don't annoying details I don't really like. I don't really like having to solve. That's why this whole loop ends up being, or this not loop, sorry, this whole method ends up getting bloated and everything. So there might be a more elegant way I can solve this whole spiel at some point in the future, but we're not going to worry about it right now. It's all right. So, what in the world? Okay. Yes, so I need to let me just do this for reference here. So I have bubbleProp, this dot bubbleProps. So the properties we're trying to access is dot visible, and then visible equals an array of length of however many visible bubbles we have, right? So we have 3 in this case. So the length of visible is 3. And 0, basically each element of those array, the bubble props, is the size, the position, and the alpha value of whatever those bubbles are, which the alpha value is 1 because it's visible. They're visible bubbles. So that's the properties we need to reference. So we need to figure out which position bubble we're in, which of these positions we're supposed to be in, and then use the properties of that from this bubbleProps visible array, dot visible array. So I'm going to get this out of here for right now. So to figure that out, this for loop is going to be looping we're going to be looping up the bubbles. So that would be down this direction, right? So we'd be starting with, we'd want to start with 1. No, sorry. We need to start with 0 because because we are moving to position 0 of these guys, right? Of our visible array. This is 0, 1, and 2, right? So in the case of bubble 0 here getting popped and sliding off, this position 0 here, bubble 1 is now going to need to slide into position 0. This is bubble 1 right now. Slides up here. So I need to loop. So I know that this is a simple little thing, kind of, but I need to do it smart right now. Because I could easily just add like another little variable. I might even just do it just to get something, just to type something on the screen. VisProp index equals 0. And then we'll just up our VisProp index here. And I'm starting to think if maybe I want to do this loop differently now, maybe. Potentially, possibly. Yeah, I might clean this up. But we leave this here. So now we're going to start with VisProp index 0. And then all we need to do is just move to this dot bubbleProps dot visible, and then now our VisProp index. And then it should just be dot y, right? Yes. Dot y is for the y position. Everything's just y position. So I keep talking about position, but it's just the y value, because everything is just happening vertically along this axis. The x gets calculated and is fixed for now. So it's just the y. So I have y, a, and r on as properties of these bubble props, right? So that's the y position, the alpha value, how transparent it is, and the radius, so the size, right? The radius of our circle, of our bubble. All right, so this should be great. And we need to do the r, so we just simply will copy, paste, and there we go. So that should fix that. I don't want to test it out until I fix all of them, actually, because yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, because I don't want to. I don't know what I was going to say. So here, last bub. Oh, this one's easy. This one's easy. Because this is always going to be the last position. This is always going to be the last position of our last visible bubble, right? It'll always be this one, right? So we can always just refer to the last position, and we'll call it a day. Hey, wait a minute. Didn't I do something? Oh, you bet I did. Oh, never mind. Target bubbles. Oh, yeah. Okay. Never mind. Okay, so we're doing some setting positions here for this new bubble coming in. We're like initializing some positions because I think I initialize all the y's to all the y values to like 0, so they all start at the top of the screen initially. So that's why I set them here. I like set up the position size and color initially, like just instantly set those values, and then we fire off to trigger the animations here to start animating up, out, right? Some of this stuff's a little silly. The way I'm doing it exactly, but once again, it's fine. We don't need to worry about it. So this last bub is what we need to fix, because we don't what did I use? VisProp index, last VisProp. Let's do that. So now instead of last bub, oh, you know what? Now I don't need this I anymore. Yes, make sure I didn't do anything dumb with that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Managing too much at once here. We'll go back and fix this in a minute. So first, instead of last bub, just comment this out. We need last viz prop. Yeah, we'll just do the whole darn thing here. This dot bubbleProps dot visible, and then this would be this dot props. This is gonna be annoying. This dot bubbleProps dot visible dot length -1, right? So we're getting the last. Basically, this is just returning us this last visible set of properties, which are the properties for this bubble. So that is the y position of this bubble, the radius of this bubble, and the alpha value of this bubble, which is obviously supposed to be visible. 100% alpha, 1. Value of 1 for alpha. Value of 0 for alpha would be invisible. So last viz prop, we got it right there. So then all we need to do is last viz prop dot y, last viz prop dot r. And this little 1 we set to is fine, because whatever. And let me fix this other thing right now while I'm right here. I'm just going to get rid of this because we do not need it anymore. And now I can, instead of declaring I up outside of here, because I was using that to get the last thing, whatever, we're going to do let I equal ID. And then we can get rid of this. Oh, and then we no longer need this last B anymore. Awesome. Yeah, actually, this is kind of working out nicely. It's cleaning. We're cleaning some stuff up, and everything should work. So now we still got our really slow animations on for sake of testing to make sure everything works. Because now I should be able to just rip through, play really fast, and all the bubbles should still end up in the correct positions. Crossing our fingers that that's the case. What? Oh. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I can feel my stomach rumbling. Anyway, that's a side detail. Not important. Not important for what we're doing currently. So here we go. We're testing it. It should work. I'm going to rip through really fast, and we'll see how everything goes. And then I'll screw up at some point just to see everything settle and just make sure everything still looks pretty good. Everything. Oh. Last viz props not defined. All right, we'll fix these errors first, okay? Keep your pants on. Last viz prop is not defined at marathon progress meter 39. Was there another error there? No, it's just the one. 39, we are getting last. Oh. How about using the right keywords? Setting that up as an actual variable. That would be nice, right? Okay. Now let's go. Let's play. Okay, so the animations were slow. Everything, blah, blah, blah. Let's just make sure. Let's play fast. Blah, blah, blah. Nice. It's working. So, while yes, the animation's slow and horrible, and I don't know what bubbles I'm supposed to be popping, everything, the bubbles are coming back to their correct resting place, right? Before, it was totally wrong. They were all screwed up. They were all over they were like really tiny and down here. That's because they kept referring to their neighbor's position. So if the neighbor was halfway animated to some other, to another size, this bubble's growing up to become this one here, right? But this one would reference the position of this one to say, I need to animate to where this one is or whatever. But this one would be in a different, it'd be halfway through its animation, so it would take the properties of that and try to move to that. Whole thing would be screwed up, would be wrong. So yes, everything's, oh, you can probably hear my stomach rumbling a little bit on there. I've been streaming for just over an hour. Nice. And we've solved one problem. It's okay though. I'm taking it light today. Nothing too crazy. I felt a little fuzzy up here, probably because I haven't eaten. I've eaten breakfast, a while ago, but it is now 2 p.m. So okay. So now everything is working fantastic. So let's just go back, tighten our animations up. And let's just, I feel like testing out the little 200 millisecond animation times again. And I do need to put these values into the configuration file at some point, but for right now, where they are is just fine. So now, yes, that feels pretty good. Okay. So aside from the horrible colors, stuff feels pretty good. But what I was saying before, oh, we have a little comment here, or a little console log that I want to get rid of. Marathon Bubble 27. 27. Yeah, just get rid of this. Don't need it. Okay. So what I was going to say, I started explaining this before. I don't remember how far I explained what I was thinking about. But as I'm playing this, okay. As I'm playing this, I'm kind of looking like in this section here of the screen. So I'm kind of not really focusing here or here, which I think is severely hurting my accuracy as I'm playing with the mouse. Because I'm not so like, oops, oh, these colors, killing me. Okay, there we go. So these colors, or sorry. What I was saying is my accuracy is not, because I'm just kind of shooting, I'm like not looking right at the cursor, right? I'd like to be like kind of focused right here and just able to zoom, 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 hit, and very clearly be able to see what colors I'm supposed to be getting to, right? So I'm trying to think of how to best make that happen. So I tightened the animations up a little bit. I made it was 300 milliseconds. I made it 200. Let's just try. Oh, because before there were no animations here. It was just, the colors just instantly changed. And I didn't like that because I felt like it was a little jarring. Like it seems like that might be like the best way to play, but I feel like I'm hitting. I feel like these are hitting like a little blind spot in my eye, actually. You know how there's those little blind spots you have like just outside the side of your eye, like if you take your thumb or whatever and like you like move it a certain way, like you look one direction and do this, like the tip of your thumb will just like disappear. Like there's just like a little blind spot in our eyes where like there's like a little hole. Like, and it doesn't look black to our eyes, like our eyes, brains somehow fill in the color. But if you like just move your thumb or whatever out here, there's a point where the tip of your thumb just like disappears. Or let me like look. I don't know, it's hard to. I feel like that's kind of happening to me right now, but it also could just be that I'm bad. I'm bad at the game. Or I need to, need to just practice a little more. So I think I mean, definitely I need to practice. And I'm tweaking things, so I'm kind of like, it's taking a little bit for me to get used to things, but I feel like something on my screen. I feel like whatever I'm doing right now at the moment, the way I'm playing, like I'm not quite 100% focusing here in the center where I should be like most accurate. And I just don't know if and I'm not necessarily opposed to like looking off here quickly, like really briefly, like kind of sizing up. That's one reason why I have the 3 bubbles on the side. That was like the sweet spot, I thought, of like planning your route ahead, right? So I can go, oh, orange, blue, brown, boom, right? If I can hit them, right? Like that was kind of supposed to be the thing. And it works pretty well. Now I just like kind of doing this over and over again. It's kind of fun. So, and wow, I just did that without even looking too. I was totally looking here and I popped those. So it's also possible too that you just don't need to be focused here. You can be more accurate with the mouse than you realize. I don't know, without exactly looking. And that might just be because I do use too much railgun on Quake, but actually that could be a little bit, because railgun on Quake, you're like, well, I don't know, you're kind of doing that, like you're kind of zipping. Somebody pops onto the screen, you kind of just zip to them and shoot them, you know, because that's exactly the same kind of thing. You're just trying to boom, hit, instant, you know, railgun shot, boom, railgun, kind of like that. So it could just be that I'm better with the peripheral than I realize. My accuracy with hitting the bubbles is better. I'm better at it than I realize. Probably not, but or I feel like I should be focusing here and kind of just using this as my reference in my peripheral vision. But I'm also, I mean, it feels like the play style of like just kind of like look here quick, hit the bubble, hit some bubbles, look back, hit some bubbles, look back, like kind of looking back and forth too is like not a terrible way to play either. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I hit 100 there. Was that 100 already? Nice. Okay. Yeah, there's no end game state here, so when you end the game, you literally just when you end the game, it doesn't actually know to end or do anything differently once you pop all the bubbles, and it forces you to go back to the checkpoint, the last checkpoint once you're done. Yeah, I'm actually doing a lot of like just focusing here and kind of like somehow being relatively accurate with the mouse. I don't know. It feels kind of weird actually. Like, feels like I should be missing a lot more. But yeah. I mean, all in all, it feels pretty good right now. Like, I think it's good enough to be almost good enough to be public at this point. I do need to fix some other things in terms of what I've just been talking about, like the sizing of this, the everything, like colors. I do need to fix that first, but just the gameplay itself feels pretty good. I do think I want to implement what I was saying earlier about just making it clear about the checkpoints, right? So if the bubbles you've popped, but you'd have to re-pop them if you mess up, you could still see those bubbles up here, right? So that way, if you do mess up, then these bubbles slide back in. Oops. So they slide back in, and it's not like, oh, it's not just unclear, like, oh, how come when I messed up, like just one bubble popped in, or how come when I messed up 3 bubbles slid back, So just to make that more clear to like a player not familiar, whatever. And even to myself, like obviously understanding, it still feels a little weird sometimes when you mess up and something changed, It's just kind of like, I don't know exactly what happened. Like I didn't see it. So, and then I think that would be a nice indicator of when you do hit a checkpoint, you'd see like the little bubbles up here that you've already popped just kind of slide off the screen, I think that would feel pretty nice. That would feel kind of like, oh, hey, I did something. I made it to the next checkpoint, right? Wow, these colors, these pinks, it's terrible. I mean, hey, it's a nice pink, but I wouldn't be opposed to having that pink in a final version of the game, but not next to that pink. Which one am I supposed to do? I can kind of tell that it's that one, but maybe on stream you can't quite tell. But yeah, these colors keep ending up being too close. Even this, way too close. I can clearly see that's the one I'm supposed to pop, but this one's like more yellow. This green is like more of a yellow. You can see that those are. But yes. I keep complaining about the colors. Like every other time I try this, I keep saying I need to fix it, but I'm not sure how I want to fix it yet. So we're not going to worry about it right now. One thing I was thinking of adding, because right now, and I think I might do it right now just because it's kind of easy for me, easy on my brain, my Saturday, haven't eaten lunch yet brain, would be to just add an indicator telling you when you messed up, right? It would be uniform. Like there's 3 ways to screw up. There's 3 ways to mess up the game and have to go start over from the last checkpoint, right? So these colors. One is I popped the wrong bubble. I did it right there. So orange is the first bubble. I pop it, and then I'm supposed to pop this one. Let's say I try to pop magenta, right? Boom. You screwed up. You have to go back. But right now, there's not like a super clear indicator of exactly what happened, right? Like, what did I do? So one thing I want to do is, just kind of off the top. Well, okay. So that's one scenario that will make you screw up and have to start over, right? Pop the wrong bubble. Boom. Other scenario is you hit the boundary. So this black outer ring is the boundary, right? So in one run, if you hit the boundary, you have to start over. Other scenario is, and maybe this isn't super obvious, but you're clicking and dragging the mouse. So like to even start playing, I have to click and drag the mouse. And then that little tail, the little mouse tail appears, right? If I close the console, the tail will be longer. And I'm not going to explain why that is right now. Let's just say I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why the game would be different when the console was open, when the web browser console was open. That being said, right now, the game works with a mouse click and drag. I don't think I'm going to keep that for the final game, because that existed for, in fact, the whole point of this game was it was called TraceRacer originally. And it still is, but I think I'm going to change the name because you're not like tracing with the mouse cursor anymore. It used to be you'd like click and drag and trace around these bubbles and hit them and whatever, but it's changing now. It's now more of just like boom, 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 hit the bubbles with a key press, I added the key press in not that long ago. The key press to pop the bubbles. It used to just be you clicked and hit the bubble with the mouse, and that was good enough. But the key press made it a little more interesting, or at least feel a little more interesting. And there's an actually good reason for that, because one of the things, and that's one of the reasons why I want to add an indicator that like tells you what you did to screw up, right? Now, the indicator would be the same in all three of these cases, right? So if I pop the wrong bubble, like I'm supposed to pop green, but I pop blue, or I release the mouse, oh, sorry, there's a fourth case. Or I try to pop like space, like just somewhere out here, hit the keyboard, I have to go back, right? So it's a fourth case. So I'm thinking it would be nice, like I kind of have a little indicator right now that kind of is like I thought it was kind of like a little hit indicator, you know, like a first person shooters, you know, added the little hit indicator around the crosshair to tell you got a hit, right? I wanted it to be kind of like that, you know, just like a little indicator to tell you like, oh, nice, you nailed it. And I just did this little red circle for right now, just because I was like, oh, I'll add something in there. I don't like it. Like I'm gonna change that too. And I'm probably gonna change the bubbles fading out and that sort of thing. And the bubbles highlighting, I don't like that really, but whatever. Not what I'm talking about right now. So I want to make like an indicator kind of telling you screwed up, but without something that affects the gameplay. Because I was thinking about like cool effects that I could add, you know, like a screen shake or something. But a screen shake would be really bad, because this game is all about just the punishment for messing up is just having to go back to the previous checkpoint, right? If I add some extra thing like screen shake, that would just be annoying and terrible, you know. I mean, I could have like some other elements kind of shake or something, or like the bubble you hit that was wrong. Like if you pop the wrong bubble, maybe that shakes, right? Like maybe this blue one goes like, you know, kind of sine wave whips back and forth real quick to kind of like shake its head at you, kind of like, nope, wrong one. That could be. The other thing, well, okay, so that might be a little more, that's a little more future. I didn't want to handle anything like that right now. What I was just thinking of doing right now is like a little red ring that kind of like expands whenever you mess up. So you drag out of the boundary, boom, this little like pulsing red ring just expands. Just a red outline of a circle expanding, right? And then kind of like fading out. So just to tell you, boom, bad move. Or boom, you pop the wrong bubble, right? Boom, little wrong bubble. Or boom, you miss the bubble, so you pop dead space, right? Like, so like, you know, like I missed the bubble, I overshot just a hair and I hit the space bar, boom, pop, reset. So the thing that I do need to add for that is something to kind of manage, because I'm starting to think I'm going to refactor how I also want to refactor the, well, like I was saying before, this little red ring indicator I don't like exactly. And the red ring indicator actually is a child property of each bubble. So I just kind of did it that way because I was like, oh, I didn't want to do it a more better way at the time. So each bubble itself is actually keeping track, has that little red ring as a property, and then, you know, it just keeps track of when it was popped, then to release the, you know, to fire off the little red ring, right? So, but honestly, the red ring just is kind of dumb anyway. I mean, I need something to kind of like, and there might be, you know, I plan to add sound to this as well. So some things might just strictly be audio cues, but at the same time, I'd like there not to be just strict audio cues in some cases. I want there to be, you know, because you should be able to turn the sound, you know, because as sad as it sounds, that's a pun. No pun intended in this case. As sad as it sounds, a lot of people turn the sound off for little, I mean, you know, it's a game. I don't have sound right now. You know, I'm not focusing on sound as of right now. But I do want there to be sound, and I want there to be good sound. I want there to be very satisfying sound. Because I feel like sound is often the thing that, you know, I don't know if you notice this, but sometimes you play first-person shooters, and you will, if a gun sound doesn't sound good to you, you won't use that gun. If the gun sounds bad, you won't use it, right? It doesn't matter if it's a rocket. Actually, I have no evidence to actually substantiate what I just said, but I feel like that's the case. Like if a gun sounds like terrible, you won't even use it, even if it's awesome. Like if you just added like somebody's literally recording in the mic like pew, you know, for a gun sound or something, it would be terrible. You wouldn't use the gun. You know, you need these like tight, punchy little sounds, you know, and you want to hear the bullet sounds too, that sort of thing. You want feedback, you know. So that's something I want to have really dialed in. Eventually with this, I'm probably going to I'll do the first public release without audio. Probably. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will want to add some sound of some kind. But I feel like having an indicator telling you where you screwed up is very important, because sometimes, you know, like I said, even when I know all the cases, you know, of where you can screw up, sometimes I'm like, wait, what did I do to screw up? So if I'm the one who knows everything and even I'm confused, that's bad. Because in that case, you'll often have times you'll be like, I popped that bubble, you know, like I definitely popped it, right? But no, you were just here and you popped it, but you weren't even really focusing. So to your eye, like you didn't really realize that, yeah, you were outside of that bubble there. So if I can really show like, yeah, you screwed up, here's why, here's where you screwed up, that'll be much nicer. So I'm thinking of having just this little red expanding ring for right now. Because I had that in my way back version of this game, back when I was actually using squares instead of circles. So I know I had that, and it helped. Like when you'd collide or something with the edge, the boundary, you'd break the boundary, then, you know, you'd see this little red ring, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, I messed up then. If I see the red ring, I messed up. The red expanding ring, not this red ring right now. That means you hit, so I need to change that. In fact, I'm thinking of getting rid of that. Maybe right now, actually. But, well, the first thing is to figure out where I'm going to put that. Where I'm going to put that object in the game code here. So I'm starting to think of possibly just creating a new little like management kind of object entity, a management kind of entity that, like, I'm thinking of calling it cursor effects manager or something like that, right? I don't really want to use the word manager, but cursor effect handler, not handler, because I use that elsewhere. Cursor effect something. So I'm thinking, in fact, we're going to start firing that up right now. I'm going to do it. It's a new file. We're going to call it cursor effect. Yeah, we'll call it cursor effect manager.js. Let's call it that. Why not? And then let's just copy some of my little boilerplate from up here. No, not that. just this stuff. Okay. So we're going to call this cursor effect manager extends entity. That's right. Okay. So I'm creating a new entity for this cursor effect manager. So I kind of want this to be set up. It'll be set up when the game gets set up. The marathon game mode gets set up, right? And then hang on, sorry. Okay. Apologies. I'm here. Don't worry. Okay. So, what was I saying about this thing? Oh, it'll be set up with our marathon creator function that runs here. Our marathon creator static method. Create marathon, right? And marathon, right now, I don't like the name really, but I just used it to differentiate it from my other game modes, which I'm actually going to be deprecating those. I'm going to be getting rid of them because I don't really like them anymore. I like this one way better. I like the way this game plays and feels and everything. So eventually this will just be, instead of marathon, it'll just be like match probably or something. Because eventually I'm going to add the online competitive support as well for this. So this is our marathon creator class that has a static method, create marathon, right? So this is just what when the player hits the marathon practice button right now, it calls that function, generates all the objects and everything, and sets everything up, right? All the bubbles, positions, whatever. So inside of this function, I will generate our cursor effect manager, our new cursor effect manager class. Actually, I could maybe set it up outside of the game and just keep. Nah, not for right now. I'm not going to do anything like that because this is a pretty kind of a chunky method here. I mean, nothing crazy at all, but 170 lines, but it's setting up like these individual aspects of everything. So it's not just like some big loop that's generating a bunch of confusing code or something. It's here we're generating, here we're generating the play area. So that's our boundary circle, right? We're generating our bubbles here, which this is probably the most complicated part because the bubbles have some logic to make sure they don't overlap when they're generating random positions, and there's a whole bunch of stuff with that. So that ends up being kind of big, but then we reach the end of that here, and then here we're generating the progress meter, and this code got a little more bloated than I wanted it to because of all the setting up positions of everything properly and making sure all that lines up. Actually, yeah, that also now has become kind of bloated too. Setting up a cursor trail at some point, which that's probably going to go away now. But the cursor trail is very simple. That's all it is. So, hit the bubbles within the first. Oh, I see. So anyway, back to our cursor effect manager. So now I think, because what I'm going to do is I'd like to move the bubble. So this thing would manage like, maybe there should be somewhere. Cursor trail, cursor input types. Hang on, let me just look at some of my other code here. Oh, it's not anything. Player input, that's the name of that. Player input. Yeah, I don't want to put it in there. No. Yeah, this is the class that, the entity that just keeps track of the mouse all the mouse movements, and then fires off the appropriate, keeps track of the mouse clicked or whatever, if it's dragging, if it's not, and then it fires off events properly, appropriately, for whatever the state of the mouse is. Because everything in this engine is kind of event driven, right? So things communicate by firing off an event, and then the listeners of that event then respond appropriately, right? Sorry, bumping the mic there. So this cursor effect manager, I think, is good to have. And this will just be, sorry, I got to try to stop bumping this. So this will have the mess up indicators, like, oh, you crashed, whatever. And the thing is, it's possible you might like spawn 3 of those simultaneously, right? Or set up, 3 of those might fire off before the animation of the first one ends, right? So that's why I'm thinking there needs to be some sort of management between, okay, fire off 3, and then how do I got to make sure I clean up the old ones once they're done, that sort of thing. And then also this cursor effect manager could do the same thing for the hit, like the hit indicators too. So it could be just listening to the appropriate events. Oh, okay. Just setting up a little more boilerplate here. We need this. So every entity has this dot event listeners, which is always equal to just an array, which is an array of objects. So this one is going to have, a cursor drag stopped. This is going to listen to the cursor drag stopped event. And the way it does that is it has a listener function that is just simply attached there, right? So cursor drag stop is cursor drag stopped passes in the mouse pointer, right? Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, boy. Okay. We need to... Cursor... Okay, the problem is... we got a little bit of an issue managing things this way. Because cursor drag stopped is an event that fires, but different, like I was saying before, there's like multiple different objects that can fire off that event, that can fire off cursor drag stopped events. Because if we just run a search on emit, what does it look like when you actually emit an event? Emit. Oh, I guess I can just say emit, drop it. Okay. So I'd have to say, I'll have to do a search for emit cursor drag stopped. Right? Okay. So we're emitting it in 10 different places. Now, some of these are deprecated now. This round we don't use anymore. But player input, play area, and marathon all keep track of that, or all should be that. So up here in the marathon file, if you can even read that, I don't know. The marathon, if it's getting fired off in the marathon file, that's because it's for when you pop the wrong bubble, because the marathon's the one that knows which bubble is next to pop, right? So it knows like, oh, you popped the wrong one, so I pop this one, and then I'm supposed to pop green, but let's say I pop purple or blue first. Boom. So the marathon says, don't worry about this error in the console. It's because the server reloaded. I didn't reload the client, whatever. So the marathon's keeping track of that, and it will fire off cursor drag stopped events if you pop the wrong bubble, right? And there might be another case here too. The play area is emitting that when you crash into the boundary. You hit the boundary wall. Hit this thing, right? The player input is keeping track of when you release the mouse. So if you release the mouse, then it's going to fire a cursor drag stopped. So the issue, the problem is this thing needs to know, the cursor effect manager needs to know the position of the cursor at the point of this cursor drag stopped. The problem is, the events that are firing off, the events that, or the objects that are emitting the cursor drag stopped event don't know where the cursor is. They don't care most of the time. Like the marathon doesn't care where the cursor is. Each bubble cares where the cursor is and does the check. Hey, is the cursor inside of me or not? Okay, then I do something, right? But the marathon does not care about cursor positions at all. Our game, our main game state object, right? But I should have the input position available somewhere. Right? Like, I don't want to have just global stuff, but I need to have the mouse cursor position like somewhere. Now, player input, is player input I need to see if player input, I believe, class, yes, I bet you it is yes, okay. So player input is a singleton object here. So you instantiate the player input object once when you launch when the browser page loads, right? And that's it. It never gets instantiated again. It's a class that just gets instantiated once and used once, right? A singleton. And it's just because it just sets up the event handlers, the browser event handlers, not my game engine event handlers, but the actual DOM browser event handlers to get mouse input and everything. Basically, my engine is kind of wrapping up all on top of that, So what that means is I can get, actually, I can just import this file. Import the file state.pose. Yeah. And, okay, so I'm talking and explaining things like I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't. I really don't know what I'm doing. But all we need to do here is just import player input from player input.js, and we're going to print to the console. Whoops, we're going to print to the console player input.state.pose, which is an object, so it's going to print a little x and y position vector, 2D vector. That's one thing I haven't set up actually yet, is like 2D or 3D vectors or whatever, because I just haven't really needed to yet. But I may be doing that at some point going forward. So console.log player.input.state.pose. Okay, that should be good, but we need to actually instantiate. We need to actually set up our new cursor effect manager object. I imported config up here before because I'll probably have some configuration variables for everything, like the radius of the little indicators or how, whatever, all that stuff will be in a little configuration file. So console log player input state.pose. That should be good. If we do marathon creator, and I'm exporting this, right? Yes. So if we do, we could just probably instantiate this way at the bottom marathon. Okay. So what we will do is I'll import it, import our new class here, import, if I type on the right keys, import cursor effect manager from cursor effect manager.js, fabulous. Cursor effect manager setup, oops. Okay. So const cursor effect manager equals new cursor effect manager. It doesn't take anything right now. It doesn't do anything. And I need to call init on that cursor effect manager dot init because it's an entity, and that's how the event handlers. Oops. How do I change? I can change. There we go. Cursor effect. Okay. So cursor, that's how these event listeners, event handlers, event listeners. That's how those get registered with the global event emitter, or the global event. Yeah, event emitter, that's what I call it. So the global event emitter get registered. Entities register their event listeners, blah, 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 when you call init, entity.init. So now we should have initialized our, yeah, actually I don't even need to pass it into the marathon yet. This should just work. So now in the console, once we launch a match, we should see the positions of our cursor in here whenever we do a cursor drag stop. So actually there's a cursor drag stop for some reason that fires right away. And I think it has to do with when I release the button. So that might be something I fix at some point. But basically, if we started drag and I release the mouse, boom, we got our mouse position at the time of that. If I crash into the wall, boom, position of our crash into the wall. If I pop the right bubble, then pop the wrong bubble, boom, we got the position of the mouse cursor. If I pop the, or yeah, if I just hit the space bar at all, like it's going to reset, it's going to fire a cursor drag stop. So yeah, if we go in here and miss, boom, cursor position of our miss. So that is exactly what we want. And then this is going to get, this cursor effect manager, I'm going to pass to our marathon. Basically, any entities that get initialized here, usually at the end, will get passed to the marathon, which is also an entity. Entity, I said before. Entity. So we set up a bunch of entities basically up here. Then we set up a marathon entity, pass it these other entities that we created up here, initialize the marathon, and then it returns the marathon, which goes up to the actual application, which is also the application entity. So let's see. Yeah, so let's pass it here, cursor effect manager. And now we actually need to receive the cursor effect manager inside of our marathon. Did I not have the, oh, here it is. Yeah, I've opened too many files here now. Okay. So now in our marathon, we need to actually pull this in. So in our constructor, so cursor effect manager looks good. And then just assign that to a property, cursor effect manager equals cursor effect manager that came in through our constructor. Beautiful. So we pass that in through the creator. We got it. Fantastic. Here it is. And then we need to destruct it as well when we destruct the marathon. That is important. This dot cursor effect manager dot destruct. Okay. Yes. And it already gets initialized in our marathon creator file, so we don't need to actually initialize it inside of the. When the marathon gets initialized, we don't need to initialize the cursor effect manager. So yes. All right. I'm all out of water. We'll be going an hour and 45 minutes. Not bad. Not bad for a Saturday stream. Might still keep going for a little bit here until we get something on the screen. So, okay. Yeah, so we're officially printing. Yeah, this is going to be really nice and straightforward. Well, okay, so this will be a little bit more. Let's do. All right, so first we want to create. First we want to create a little red ring, right? So that would just be a circle object. Well, we'd have two entities we create. A circle. You know what? Actually, I think we're going to end up creating a new class. Let's move this over here. Then let's do cursor crash indicator. Yes, we are going to create cursor crash indicator.js. SJ. Whoops. All right, I can, yeah, maybe I brought that out. That's why things don't feel good. Okay, so let's move our manager back over here. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm going to create a new class now for our cursor crash indicator. Oh, okay. That looked weird. So this will be the little expanding circle, right? So basically it's going to be a circle. It's going to extend the circle class and import circle from circle. We're going to have cursor, export default class cursor crash indicator. Oh, and then we need to extend circle. So a circle is a drawable, which is an entity. So the special fancy thing to already get all drawing on the screen and everything. Constructor, super, call, okay. And then we're going to be taking in, oh, I do params and pass params. So the params that come in, because this is a class that extends a drawable entity, which is circle, we need to pass it like the color and the size and the initial stuff to get it set up. That's how I have it working right now. So we always, whenever you have any class that extends a drawable entity, you need to pass params to super first. So basically, if we pass anything else to the params is an object, by the way. And if we want to pass anything else, we usually attach it to params, to that object that we pass in with the params. So, which will be called from our cursor effect manager. So this is going to be a circle, but it's going to also have an animation. So I'm just going to have a prop. If I start typing the right key, I'm just going to call it this.anim. And we are going to import animation from animation.js. Oh, yeah, that's lowercase. It's not supposed to be lowercase. Something happened and a bunch of the files got set to lowercase. I don't know why. Not going to worry about it right now. It's okay. So our cursor crash indicator is just going to be a circle, right? And it's going to like slowly get bigger and also slowly like fade out maybe. Is what I'm thinking. Because like right now we've got this little hit indicator that's a circle that's just a fixed radius, but then it fades out, right? So it would be kind of like what we have for the hit indicator, where it's like a little red ring there. But it's going to just like grow out like from 0 radius, you know, or whatever, to, you know, I don't know what we'll do, 100 pixels or something before it fades to black, and then it would be done. So what we can probably do is just use the same animation object. Use the same animation object to calculate the radius and the oh, you know what? Oh yeah. Yeah, we can do that. I'll do some clever magic here with our. Okay, so what else do we need here? We need to initialize the animation. This.anim.init. Oh. Super.init. Okay. So when our little crash indicator gets initialized, it'll also initialize its animation, and we need to also destruct its animation. This.anim.destruct. So this way we've got our cursor crash indicator, and then we've got our cursor effect manager that's going to be like keeping track of everything. You know what? I could do a little more inheritance here, maybe. I'll refactor it if I need to. We'll just keep rolling the way we are right now, and I will get rid of this for right now. We'll refactor it when we come to that, because what I'm going to end up probably doing is doing a basically the same thing, but for instead of the crash indicator, the hit indicator. But yeah, I'm thinking these will be, you know, pretty much all the same. It's like boilerplate. It'll be a cursor effect. Weemy, welcome. How's it going? So this animation is, I got to remember what properties I need to set up an animation. Here we go. Oh. This .anim actually, wow. Yeah, it actually needs to instantiate the animation that our animation class. How about that? How about that to start? In bed, ready for sleep. Yeah. 3:09 here, man. You're a bunch of hours past. What are you? You're coming up on 11. You're coming up on what? 23 o'clock. How's it going? It's going pretty good. Yeah, it's just thought I'd hop on for a little bit Saturday and stream a bit, and my mind was a little foggy, and now I think it's because I haven't eaten. 22:09, gotcha. Yeah, but now I'm just I just press that start stream button and haven't looked back. So yeah, I'm just doing some simple stuff right now, just fixing up some, well, I fixed an issue earlier, a little animation issue earlier, and now I'm doing another little animation thing. I'm trying to get I want to get a little indicator going where, because you can, if you start, so like I pop yellow, right, and then if I mess up, I have to go back and start yellow over again, right? So that can happen if I release the mouse cursor, if I crash into the wall, if I pop the wrong bubble, right? So I'm supposed to pop blue next, but I pop green, boom. So right now there's like not really any visual indicator to tell you, oh, you screwed up. You got to go back to the next check, to the last checkpoint, right? So I'm just going to have this little, I just want to have this little red ring that expands slowly and then fades out. Whenever you crash into the wall or pop the wrong bubble, just do that, just to kind of indicate, hey, yeah, you messed up, so you gotta go back. So as of right now, this is not to be confused with the little red circle that pops up currently, kind of showing that like you popped the bubble. I'm gonna get rid of that because I think it looks bad at some point anyway. But yeah, just not to confuse that. So I think I'm setting up stuff correctly here. I'm trying to set up a new animation, which you always got to remember how you always got to remember how your code works to be able to use it. So we've got a max dir property of our animation, which is just the duration of how long the animation runs, right? So in this case here that I'm referencing, I have a 200 millisecond animation. So we want something like a second. Like I'm thinking this little red circle is just kind of like, it's going to be kind of slow. And the equation I'm going to use is just going to be a linear. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I just want to do T to T. It's just going to be linear. It's just going to, maybe I'll change it, but we'll start with that for right now. There's not going to be any like fancy interpolation or anything. It's just going to be a 1-to-1. As time moves on, it's going to move fixed with time, not exponentially. It's the word I'm trying to think of. Exponentially or parabically or whatever. Or start val. We need a start val. What? Come on. VS Code. Get with it here. Okay. So our start value, you know what? I'm gonna do something crazy here, which I think I'm undoing some of the fancy things that I added in, some of the fancy helpers I set up for myself in the first place. I'm gonna do an animation just between 0 and 1. And this would be the alpha value. Oh no, I can't do that. I can't do it. No, I need two animations. I need a size animation, and I need a alpha animation, which I'll just call fade. I'm going to have a fade animation. I'm going to need 2 of them. Oops. I'm abusing my own system. 2 things. Any plans for colorblind friendly mode? Also, shouldn't the amount of circles reset to the start? Checkpoint 2. The colorblind thing. No, as of right now, I honestly don't know if I will do anything colorblind ways. Because I don't know if I'm trying to make it like, this is more of just a little experiment, and I do want to make it publicly available, but I don't know if I want to like make it a big deal, you know, if you know what I mean, like to the level where I'm supporting things like colorblind mode. I mean, if there were, you know, if I heard a lot of feedback from people saying, whoa, you know, this is bad for being colorblind, then yeah, I'd definitely consider it, I think. But as of right now, I don't know. And a friend of mine was just saying that before too. You said green, but click yellow. I thought it would feel bad. Nice. Well, right now the colors are all screwed up because right now they're just pure. I'm just doing a random R, a random G, and a random B for the colors, which is terrible because you end up, well, I mean, here you end up with a bunch of blues that all look the same or look similar. Yeah, at least on my other monitor, the blue channel is kind of messed up, so these look really similar on that. But like on my nicer monitor, I can tell the difference. But yeah, like here you get a little more, you know, sometimes you just get, most of the time the colors, you know, like 80% of the time the colors are distinct, but I need to have some nice like color themes. Which, yeah, I mean, I might look into the color blindedness stuff, whatever I need to do for that to be able to make the distinctions. Also, yeah, your other question is also, shouldn't the amount of circles reset to the start of the checkpoint too? Well, the thing is, let me pull up my little my little diagram. So the way that this is supposed to be the bubble, representing the bubbles, and then so that you start with bubble 0, right? And you just keep going up, and then the checkpoints hit. As of right now, I have it configured to go. Once you pop 4 bubbles, you go to the next checkpoint. So you got 0, 1, 2, 3. Once you pop 3, that's considered going up to the next checkpoint. All right. So you pop the 4th bubble, you go up. So the way I have it work right now is if you pop bubble 0, so right off the bat, you see bubble 0, 1, 2, 3. If you pop 0, then bubble 4 appears. And then if you pop 1, bubble 5 appears. But what I have right now is if you screw up, bubbles 4 and 5 remain as kind of like a punishment. Because now it's like, now there's just more bubbles, so it'd be kind of harder to manage. So it's kind of like, well, you screwed up. So now it's like just slightly more confusing because now there's just more bubbles on the screen. But what your point 2, that's also another possibility. And I could, yeah, it looks like a bug, right? You know, it's just it's a bug, but I grandfathered it in as a feature. No, I'm just kidding. So no, it is intended that way. That yes, we pop the first bubble, so we see the first 4 bubbles of our checkpoint. Once we pop all 4 of these, we go to the next checkpoint. But we pop this one, I popped 0, and then 1, 2, 3 are here. Bubble 4 appeared, but if I mess up, boom, this bubble stays. Just as kind of like a. But I mean, like you said, maybe that is something I do change. Like maybe that just makes more sense. I don't know. This was kind of just my initial idea, but I could play around with that idea that this one needs to go away too. Or that any of the next checkpoint bubbles that appear need to go away. But yes, so this animation stuff. Okay, so now I'm going with two different animations for this indicator. One to animate the size and one to animate the fade. Because I have a nice little thing to do a callback. They keep the positions, so them staying made no sense to me. That's why I thought it was a bug. Gotcha. Well, so I went up to using two animations now. Because I was thinking originally, well, they're both going to run 1,000. They're both going to run for 1 second. The size expanding and then the fade. Like I want it to like expand out and then fade out. This little ring to just expand and then fade out. And I was thinking that since they're both going to just be that 1 second, maybe I could just use the single animation object for that. But the way I have these animation class set up is it's kind of nice because it will interpolate nicely for you between whatever your start value and your end value are. It'll do that math for you. So in the case of the size, all I have to do is say this would be my radius, 0 to start because it's going to fade out from nothing. And then the end value will just say, for right now, I'm just going to put 100 pixels, just magic number stuff for testing. And then all I need to do is this. Okay, so our cursor crash indicator is a circle, so it has a size parameter, our size property, and a radius. So all we need to do with our onTick function is this animation will calculate the nice little value interpolated between 0 and 100, right? So however far time ticks along, over our 1,000 milliseconds, it will always be just interpolating frame by frame in between 0 and 100. And then likewise, the fade animation is going to be doing the same thing, but from an alpha start value of 1 to an alpha value of 0, right? So then that will be interpolating from 1 down to 0, whereas this one's interpolating from 0 pixels to 100 pixels. So our onTick for this is going to be setting the, oh yeah, I guess I can do that. This dot size dot r, the radius, that's actually just like I have over here. And then this onTick is going to be val equals this dot color dot set. I have to do a fancy little thing here. Set a to val, the incoming value. Okay, that is good. Were you streaming at all today, Weemy? Or I didn't see you on there before. I haven't looked at your schedule at all. I didn't know if you're if you're still lurking around, that is. I was on this morning. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't see you, so when I first hopped on. So I might have been, well, that would have been that was like just over 2 hours ago. So I guess that's, oh yeah, this morning for you would have been, this morning for you, I would have been in Betty by Lando's. Hit some new crazy records. What are you talking about? It sounds good, whatever. whatever records you're talking about. Gotcha. So this should be good. Oh, the one thing I need to fix with these animations now. Well, okay. Yes, obviously I've added 2 animations, so we need to make sure they initialize and destruct properly. New maximum viewer count achievement for... Oh, nice, nice. Awesome. Yeah, Saturdays are good days to stream, I guess, for that sort of thing, right? Oh, what? How did I miss that before? I might have been talking and did something without thinking. Oh, yeah. There we go. Destruct, destruct. Okay. Was crazy, started to panic a bit. Yeah, I gotcha. When you rated me the other day, I was like, oh boy, too many people for my taste. Yeah, your stream's nice because it's kind of like, you know, you've got like 4 people chatting, talking JavaScript, whatever. You know, like that's pretty, that's nice to have, you know, just like pretty consistent people just chilling and hanging out, I guess, right? A community. That's what it is, right? All right, so we should be good with our crash indicator here now. I can actually add it. Actually, we're right here to the point where we can add it in to our new cursor effect manager. And what I'm going to do just for testing is instantiate. I'll instantiate it right here in the event handler, and I'm just gonna let it fly like that for this. Whoops. Okay, we need to import the file first here. Need to keep track of what I'm doing here. Import cursor cursor crash indicator from cursor crash indicator .js. Yeah, I grew faster than expected. Was hoping to be streaming for like 6 months, around 2 to 3 viewers, and get used to streaming. Gotcha. Nice. Have you been... Was hoping to be streaming for like 6 months, around 2 to 3 viewers, and I get used to streaming. Gotcha. Now I reread it again and reprocessed what you said. So have you been... How long have you been streaming now? Okay, so I panic easily in bigger crowds. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Or I was saying before, you rated me, whatever the Tuesday or whatever that was, and I was like, raid 7 people. What? I've only seen the viewer count like up to 5 max. Started late July this year. Nice. That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. So soon 2 months. Nice. Yeah, I think this is like my third week now. When did I start? August. think I started maybe like August 17th or 18th was like my first day. I've been doing Mondays and Tuesdays as like my streaming days. Nice though. That's awesome though. Just a couple months and getting, I mean, that's good. And I mean, that's good that you're, I mean, like you said, you'd rather it not be so too many people, but nice. Yeah. Yeah. The raids. Well, you were my first raid, or the first raid I got. And then Noise Minded raided me earlier with a few viewers, like an hour earlier or whatever. And that's, yeah, that feels pretty good for sure. Yeah, and I don't know how people like, I mean, I don't know what you did, what you were doing to find, if you were just browsing and saw JS or whatever in the science and technology or whatever in my JavaScript or whatever in my title, and then picked me to raid. But yeah, I don't know how people do, how do they decide what they're going to raid? Oh, nice. That was for me, you're saying? You got a tip from someone in chat? Or someone else in your chat said, hey, there's some guy, some weird long-haired dude in his creepy basement doing JavaScript. Crappy JavaScript games. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know what like the etiquette is. Like, if you've got a few viewers, is it good to raid or, I mean, I guess it's nice, you can, like, you raided me. I wasn't familiar with you before. So honestly, I haven't done a lot of science and technology. I just kind of started streaming, but I hadn't really done too much looking myself. Right. Exactly. It's good for, yeah. Like now I've, followed you, and I'll lurk on your streams, when I see you. So yeah, it's kind of a nice little community thing, I guess, right? So see, free follower and viewer work. Exactly, right? And now you're hanging out here. I appreciate that, for sure. Whoops. New cursor. All right, so we've just exported our new little cursor crash indicator, which according to my calculations, this should work. This should be a little circle once we initialize it that grows and fades out. And then, so now just by calling it and instantiating it, or we should be good. Actually, I first need to set the position of it. I need to set some properties like the color. How do I do color again? New color. I guess I need to import. No, screw that. Just skip it for right now because it'll initialize to black or default to black. So position is going to be a new little object, player input dot state dot pose. I don't really need to have state anymore. I don't know why I have a dot state. Y.playerInput.state.pose.y. Okay, yeah, that's good for now. So the position, the size. Oh, the size is going to default to 0. Oh, actually, well, that should be set in here, not in the other. Yeah, what am I thinking? This dot could have made someone else panic with 20 viewers. Right. This dot pose dot. Yeah, I mean, when I started, I didn't really know exactly what to expect. I mean, I knew like, okay, I'm going to be streaming and maybe like one person will pop on and watch. So I guess my mindset when I started was kind of like, all right, I should just act like I'm doing a stream for 100 people, or like act like I'm, like that somebody's actually interested in what I'm doing. I act like somebody actually cares, and then I can just trick myself. I don't know. Well, I do upload all my streams to YouTube because I thought, maybe someday I'll go back and reference things or whatever. But I've just been doing that as kind of like okay, just put something else out there. So that helps, because I know like, oh, I'm recording this stream also for posterity's sake. So I'm kind of like talking to YouTube too, like. So I thought my mental approach was like that. I think helps me, because if I was more just like chilling or something, or like, I don't know, yeah, I feel like I would have been a lot more nervous. But since I kind of tell myself, all right, I have to kind of explain things as I go. And the one thing that I've noticed for me is like, I don't like a lot of, because I kind of started doing a little more, I just hide the viewer count and talk about what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's actually smart, right? Right. Because the other thing is like, the thing that bothers, I've noticed I get more nervous, like when I'm like, oh boy, I gotta like write like an algorithm here, and I can't like explain what I'm thinking right now, because it's like I just have to use all my brain power to like think of this thing going here and there and blah blah blah. So that's the part that like freaks me out a little bit, like when I hit something that I have to do where I like can't talk through it. Like here it's simple, because I can just be like, oh yeah, I'm setting the position, I'm setting X and Y of this thing here, like it just makes more sense, so I can just like kind of rattle it off like I'm whatever. But then when it's like, oh boy, I really got to think about this, and now I look like an idiot because I can't think of something. But well, so then I just say I'm an idiot all the time, then nobody will care, right? But that happens too. I had 5 hours of that today doing shaders and WebGL. That's, yeah, I was in the one stream the other day. Your stream the other day, you were doing a lot of like, whatever that was, 2 days ago, yesterday? I don't know if it was 2 days ago. Yeah, I had you up while I was working, so I was kind of semi-listening a little bit, but when I could. But yeah, the WebGL, I mean, you're doing, yeah, exactly. You were doing I saw like you had like your full cube map, and then you had the black hole with the crazy warping and everything of it, and then, which looked awesome. I guess what you were working on, I didn't ask specifically what you were trying to do, but I guess you were trying to maybe have it so that when the camera was rotating or whatever, that the black hole was moving with it or something. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Oops. Sorry, I keep bumping the mic here. Oh, so yeah, what I was saying here was I was trying to set the oh, wait a minute. No, that's not what I want. I want the size. .r. Right? Wait, what am I? No. Actually, I need size to equal that. A radius of 0. Yeah, I started initializing some of this stuff over here in the cursor effect manager, but I want to actually just initialize this at the actually, I don't know if I need to do this or not. It might be fine. Yes, didn't get sorted that day. Oh yeah, I got you that day. Fixed it now though, but I wanted to change it all and do it from scratch. Actually learn something, be able to make my own shaders. Yeah, I got you. Yes, I've used Three.js a little bit actually, some stuff for work. But I didn't do any. I mean, my 3D API stuff. Yeah. No worries. Yeah, you're from you from Sweden? Did you say? I thought I heard you say that. Maybe, sorry if I'm wrong. At least my time zone guessing there is at least correct, if that's or close. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, with the Swedish accent. Yeah. I like metal. I like heavy metal, so that's Swedish. Or at least heavily a lot of Swedish, right? I got the guitars. Okay, so this should be good. We initialize, that should be good. I think if we try this, we might actually have something here. So if I drag the cursor and release it, nope, nothing. Didn't work. Position. Let's just make sure. Oh, it would help if I actually animated the radius. Oh. Oh, that's right. I've got 2 guitars and 1 ukulele. Nice. Essential uke. Oh, and I forgot. These are shaded in. These need to be just rings. I can set that from in here. This dot draw style. Yeah. Oh, I need to import helper from helper.js. Beautiful. Okay, draw style. Helper dot draw stroke. Okay, that's my really hacky way of just letting me change from a circle outline to a filled in circle. Nice. Okay, the 1 second is 1 second is way too long. Let's make that half a second. And we need to make it red. It needs to be red. That feels pretty good. So if we pop the wrong bubble now, are we drawing? Oh, And we need to set the Z index to something more than the bubbles. What are the bubbles Z indexes? Bubbles. Oh, no. In the creator here. So in our Marathon creator, we should be able to find when we instantiate our bubbles, bubbles.push, Marathon bubbles, the index of 0. Okay, so I wonder why that's, so we just, for this cursor effect, we just need to do a Z index of 1. What is the Z index quick of our border player? Z index 3. Okay, so let's make it a Z index 4 then. Z, and I will put these all in the config. Do you have everything in one folder? All of my client code, yes, is all in one folder here. Scripts, all the classes. And then I have my server stuff. This game is actually competitive. It's actually one-on-one. I'm just doing... Well, I did the one-on-one for a different kind of game mode, and this is kind of a new game mode that I'm working on. But I'm thinking of getting rid of the old game mode now because of this new game mode is like better. And I'll have to add the competitive stuff in. Yeah, I have everything in one folder. At some point, I might separate stuff out. Don't I have a core? No, I don't. That's some other project. Client, scripts. Yep, everything just in one for right now. Yeah, it's a mess. Because, yeah, I started with like one file, right? And then 2, and then 8. Okay. Z index 4 we're doing. Whoops. Easier for imports, I guess. Yeah, that was kind of like, if I get to stuff where like naming things gets to be too crazy, then I could see myself splitting things up. But like everything makes sense. There is some stuff in here now that's going to get removed from the old game mode. Probably not a lot, but yeah, I didn't end up, and it didn't look like too many files. Yeah, I mean, it's just from here, this animation down to WebSockets wrapper there. Yeah, it's not, I mean, I do have some inheritance and stuff. Oh, gotcha. I thought you had way more files. Yeah, it's definitely not keeping track of things. The file wise has not been bad at all. And there are some things here that, well, pretty much everything extends from entity, because everything's like a game entity. And like drawable extends entity. So a bunch of things extend drawable, because anything that's drawable on screen, I have extending this class. So there's some inheritance levels there, but also not usually just one layer. Most things just extend entity and that's it. There's not some crazy, I might split things into like folders if there was like some crazy tree of things. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess if you thought I had a lot more, then that makes more sense. But, well, I don't know. It just depends. Some people like to filter things out into a million folders, I guess, too, right? And I've been trying, that's one thing I've been trying to do with this more than, like, trying not to get hung up on small details. Like, if I have got a pretty... guilty of that. Yeah, I gotcha. Well, the thing for me, I think, for this project is I've always wanted to just push forward to like do something, like, rather than, as long as I make sure I'm not burying myself in like a pit, like a big technical debt pit, like where I'm going to have to spend like a full day refactoring something. I've been, yeah. I've just been like, if I've got something that's relatively right solution, but there's probably a slightly more better way to do it, but that slightly more better way is probably going to mean like 2 hours versus like something, well, maybe that's a bad example, but I've been trying to just do things like when I have the idea, just like do it, as long as I know I'm not going to have to put myself in a position to undo a bunch of things later. As long as I like the path is clear to like maybe fix it the right way later, like then I'll do it that way. Because otherwise I would just like demotivate myself, because I'd spend, all day trying to add one little thing or something, and I try to just boom, let's get something going on screen quick, and then maybe it needs to belong to some other prop object later or some other entity later, but at least I got it on screen for right now. And as long as I knew it wasn't gonna take me forever to undo or change it later, then I kind of just go with the quick and dirty solution, as it were. What was I? Oh, well, we fixed the Z index right now, so that should be right. We need, yeah, and because we want that on top. Yeah, so now we got a bunch of these that go, which looks kind of cool, little ripples. If we crash there, we got it. If we pop the wrong bubble, we got it. Boom. If we pop dead space, we got it. If we just release the cursor, we got it. Okay. So, boom. You know what? It should be even slightly faster. Let's go to the 400. I think I spent the first 2 weeks of streaming just refactoring. Gotcha. Yeah, when did you... Was that... I guess you had built that up to a certain point and then you started streaming, right? Or how long had you been working on the space simulation? Or it's educational space game, right? That's what you've got in the title. Ooh, yeah, that feels better, right? Retro MMO, hi. Hi there. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the follow. I got you. Saw the offline. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that, actually. Thank you. Yeah, and I thought you had. I thought you were in the Weemy's stream the other day. Whoa. Hey, why? You know what? We need something more clear. Yeah, I followed during Weemy's stream the other day. Gotcha. What are you working on here? This is like a little skill-based, just kind of skill-based game where you pop these bubbles in the order that they appear here. So it's just kind of a little like fast-paced thing, just kind of, if I don't mess up. I got 100 now, so I got to go all the way to 100. I have no idea what one I'm on. That's another thing I got it. That's one of my next to-dos is adding a little thing to say. Christian. Are you going to add a timer? The old game mode. Oh, sorry, I missed Weemy's one there before. You started project early 2018. Then I had a huge break with health issues. Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you're back and healthy. Early 2018. Got it. Yeah, Christian. I'm thinking. Well, so I have an old. Let me just show you guys the old game mode since you're here hanging out. How am I doing the rendering? I am using the 2D canvas context. I know I saw you guys talking about that in Weemee's stream the other day. Where's my canvas wrapper here? This old boy right here, if you can see it here. Canvas.getContext 2D. So the canvas create element. I created it on the fly, I guess. Yes. Get some stuff and then do that old guy. Yeah, not using WebGL. Not simulating the universe like Weemee yet, but that's for next week. I'm just kidding. You use WebGL a lot, or you use the 2D a lot? I checked your. Oh, gotcha. Still not healthy. Well, I hope you're on the mend. Yeah, retro MMO. I saw a little. I checked you out because I was like, oh, maybe retro MMO is creating a retro MMO. 2D. Gotcha. Yeah, I saw your stream. You kind of had, or I saw a video, or maybe it was just a screenshot. Quick, I checked out your channel. I think I followed you. Back. Oh, but Creation's comment about the timer. So I'll show you guys the old. Oh, that's my old. Let me at least make that a little more. So my original game mode was this. So used to hitting the other one. Was this style where, and this one actually uses better colors. It uses just a fixed number of colors, but basically it's like five, the most retro of MMOs. Well, retro MMO, I mean, isn't that like Ultima Online? Isn't that like the original, the OG MMO? Maybe I'm not up to snuff on MMOs or games in general. But yeah, this is my original mode where you kind of go down, popping the bubbles along the side here, and you've got 5 seconds to do it, right? And keep in mind, this whole thing's supposed to be competitive, kind of a one-on-one thing, right? I'm just doing the practice mode, so it's just me right now. But ideally, I wanted to have kind of a one-on-one scenario. I do actually have it set up for this mode. So I did have a timer for this one. But, and then if you, this is like round based, so it's kind of like you maybe you'd play like, first to win 20 rounds against another player, right? Of just this quick 5, whatever. But I didn't like the way the round, and here I've got just like a little blip saying how fast you beat the level in or whatever, just kind of debug stuff. But I didn't like that. It just felt like the round thing broke up the gameplay. Like it felt too much. Like, yeah, I could go fast for like a second, a little burst, but then I had to, that you have to go to the next round, and there's like this delay between competitive whack-a-mole. Yeah, pretty much. I didn't like how it was like play for 5 seconds or probably less, because like the average time for me was like 3 seconds maybe. So it was like play for 3 seconds, boom, then like a second of like, hey, you beat the round. Now you got to wait a second to go to the next round. Then the next round appears. And it was like, this game should I should just be able to, blaze at my own pace. And yes, I have thought about something like that, Creation. For every positive click, add seconds to the clock. Kind of, I'm thinking about maybe something like that, or at least some sort of time. One thing I had before I ended with this kind of idea, this current state. Well, so at the way it plays currently, oops, if you can forgive the awful colors, the discrepancy between the colors here. This mode at least just keeps playing. Like right now I've got it set to 100 bubbles, so it will generate 100 bubbles. I can just keep playing. You know, this is like just feels a lot better. Whoops, if I don't mess up. And when you mess up, you only go back at least 4 bubbles right now. You only have to go back to like the nearest 4. Every 4th bubble you pop, you go up to a new checkpoint. That's not very clear right now the way the gameplay is, but I have a fix for that. Oh, sorry, bump the mic. Sorry. It's probably loud. But yes, I'm trying to think, like right now I'm just sitting idle. So if this is like a one-on-one game, I'm trying to think of how I want to solve, you know, when you go AFK. Because like, would it just wait till, you know, or both players go AFK? I don't want the game to just play infinitely, right? I got to add some sort of timer, obviously. But I haven't decided exactly how I wanted to do it. I did experiment with a little way where the bubbles actually popped up over time. So like every second would go by, a new bubble would pop up. It needed a lot of tweaking before something like that would work. Like, and I don't even know. There might be some, because one of the big problems I have right now is I don't want bubbles to overlap at all, ever. That's like a no whatever. And I also don't want it to loop infinitely trying to find a position to plop a new bubble. But when there's not enough space for a new bubble, you know, or whatever. So I would need some fancy schmancy way to, like Tetris. You know, I was thinking of maybe like a Tetris-y kind of thing, like the screen fills up and then you're done, boom, right? Like, you know, I've maxed, you know, like if bubbles were kind of possibly, right now bubbles pop up as you play. Like you pop a bubble, a new one will pop up. And then, it's working the way it should be, but as Weemy brought up before, like the bubbles that appear, so if I pop this one, the next bubble from the next round will appear, but if I mess up and restart, it doesn't go away. Oh, what the crap's going on here? WebSocket thing. Don't worry about that. So, yeah, I do still have to figure out how I want to add some sort of timing functionality to it. Whether it be adding maybe more bubbles slowly over time, slightly over time, just to make it, you know, a little more challenging, or if it's just like you have to beat the checkpoint before you hit, you know, or there's maybe like a timer. Whoops. Maybe there's just a timer for a given checkpoint, or like you said, Christian, maybe just the seconds, you know, as you pop more, you gain time. If you screw up, you lose a little bit of time. That's a good thing. That's a good idea there. Weemy, well, going to sleep. Good night. Hope you get some good rest. Appreciate you hanging out, lurking, whatever. And thanks for the ideas, because you kind of made me think about that bubble, those bubbles not going away. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the luckful wishes there. I appreciate that. And I will, I'll be creeping on your streams in the future. Creation, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. And thanks for the comments. You've been making me think. You've been provoking me to think a little bit about this. Because I was getting a little cocky. I was kind of like, oh yeah, this game's feeling pretty good. Nice. And I'm like, oh yeah, reality check. I got to have some sort of timer in there too. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping the mic. Is that... I know, and I just bumped my mic volume up a little bit, my compressor's output gain up a little bit. So I hope I'm not making things loud. Creation, for sure. We'll tune in next time. Thanks. Take it easy. I guess you're heading out. We'll see you. We'll see you next time. I appreciate it for sure. Thank you. So, all right. So what I've been working on is this little indicator when you mess up. That's what this little black ring is, but I want it to be like red. RGLA, you're still here. Thanks, brother. What, you playing Apex or something right now? Still never played Apex. I don't know. So we've got this. You doing other stuff? Gotcha. Oh, so you were playing Apex. I knew it. So we've got this little ring now that's supposed to be indicating when we crash. Like, so if I crash, this little black ring goes. I want it to be red, though. It's supposed to be a bad thing. Red is bad, right? Red is supposed to be bad. How? Oh, we can set it right here in our crash indicator right here. This dot, I need to import my color. So I've got a little color class that's just kind of a little helper kind of color class, whatever. That lets me just nicely, because I started driving myself crazy trying to keep track of colors, because originally I was like, I'm not gonna do any sort of color class or formal. I'm not gonna do some sort of three-dimensional vector with RGB, blah blah blah. I started out that way, and then got crazy trying to manage because I didn't remember how I was keeping track of a color value or whatever. Oh, but let me pull that file open quick to explain a few things here. So this dot color will equal new color. Can I do this? No, this is actually bad. I shouldn't do it here. Color equal to, I'm going to import color here. Sorry, I'm just moving my color setting up here up to our new cursor effect manager. So that's going to be the thing that manages. Well, that's what it's doing right now, is it's letting me spawn all these different little rings right now. That's what our cursor effect manager is doing. But we want them to be red. Color. It needs to equal a new color. And colors come in RGBA format. So red, we're going to do 255 G0 B0. A, I can just leave A blank. Trust me. I think. Okay. There we go. Now we got red. It looks a little weird. It looks thinner though. I think it's moving too fast. 100 pixels is too much for that animation. This circle expands up to 100 pixel radius. That's too much. We're going to go 50. Yes, that's this right here, size animation. So the end value, so our start value of our size animation is going from 0. Our circle's growing from a radius of 0 out to a radius of 50. That, it's not big enough. 50 radius, not big enough. 75. Okay, that's a little more acceptable. We crash. Yeah, that's pretty good. The only other thing that I don't know if I like, The only other thing I don't... Okay, so the point of this little indicator is supposed to tell you when you screw up and where you screw up, right? But I kind of, when I added this, I realized, like, okay, so let's just say I pop this bubble, right? And I'm shooting over here real fast. Like, so I'm going wham, wham, right? Oh, there I missed, right? So we saw the red ring expand. Never mind this little red ring that pops up when you pop the bubble. Boom, that little red one there, right? Right there. Pop, that little red one. I'm doing my own sound effects now. I need more water. I'm getting a little raspy. And I've been going 3 hours now. This was just supposed to be a Saturday chill stream. I wasn't going to go 3 hours. I was going to go maybe 1.5 hours or 2. Anyway, there's this little red ring showing like a hit, like kind of like, boom, you hit, see, you pop the bubble, good job, kind of thing. Battery running low. Oh, I should get rid of that print from the console. I do not need that anymore. Let's do that. Okay. So now, so there's the little red ring that tells you like when you get a hit, boom, like, okay, good job. You pop that bubble. But I'm thinking of maybe changing that to like something else, like not a circle, but like especially not a red circle. Maybe like a little X or something, like, but we'll see. Because I thought it was cool to like kind of know exactly where your cursor was when you pop that bubble. But at the same time, you play like so fast that I just don't think you even care about that. So I'm going to get rid of it right now because it's kind of bugging me. So in our marathon bubble, we have a key hit indicator. And that's what we want to, I'm going to just comment out any reference to key hit indicator right now. If I hit the right keystrokes. Key hit indicator fade timer. Yeah, wow, boy, this is too much stuff here. Okay, key hit indicator. Key hit indicator. Key hit indicator. Key hit indicator. I should have just did a find all, shouldn't I have, of key hit indicator, 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 key hit indicator. Man, there's way too much code in this file. Jeez. Okay. All right. Hang on. I got to use the bathroom. I'm sorry. BRB. that it? Back? Okay, good. All right, I'm back. Yes, I did wash my hands. I was in the bathroom, but I did wash my hands. It's okay. All right. So, I like these colors. I just like the way these colors look. It's kind of nice. That's not very ideal. Those oranges are too close, but it's kind of a nice little random set of colors there. Anyway, I was talking about getting rid of the key hit indicator, which I did. I think I commented out all the key hit indicator things, which actually were quite a bit of key hit indicator references here. Actually, that name is kind of old and shouldn't be around anymore. Okay, so now what we're looking for, we're making sure our little red circle when we pop a bubble is gone now. And it's gone. And I feel like there should be something there when you pop the bubble. Okay. But the little indicator that was there before, the little red circle, you just didn't notice it anymore. Or you just really didn't notice it that much. So now that, oh boy. Oh, screens are really close. Okay. Man, sorry. Sometimes I start playing, I just get in the zone. I just take off. Anyway. So I'd like there to be some, like obviously the bubble fades out when you pop it, right? And that's the wrong one. This screen. Oh, that's terrible. So that's, I feel like the bubble should just, or I feel like there's got to be some indicator to tell you exactly where you pop the bubble. But when you're playing fast, you really don't care. Like you're not looking at that. You're not looking at how close to the center of that bubble was that I just popped, right? And that little indicator was only on screen for very briefly anyway. I think it looks cleaner without that little indicator, so I think we'll just leave it that way for right now. I'll leave the code commented out so I can undo it, if I want to go back. But for right now, I think it's fine. And I think nice. That. Oh, these bubbles are small. The small ones are hard to hit, but it feels good when you hit them. Oh, man, I do something dumb like that. The other thing, okay, so one of the things I started to talk about was before my bathroom break, before blah, blah, was I added this little circle now, right? This little red circle that tells you when you crash or mess up or whatever. So this is when you hit the boundary, boom, you got to start over. So the thing, don't worry about that. Okay. The thing is, like, the point of that indicator is to tell you this new little red ring that expands. It's supposed to tell you messed up, right? So you know what? You know what I should do? I should just do an animation. Well, okay, so sorry, I'm like thinking and not explaining myself here. So it's supposed to be telling you where exactly you screwed up, right? Did you hit the board? Like it's just supposed to let you know, oh, you see that red ring, you messed up, right? Because before I didn't have anything, literally just 20 minutes ago, there wasn't anything. So if you hit the wall, you didn't really know that that was the end of the game. I mean, I know in my head because I know that's how it behaves. But if someone was playing this for the first time, they wouldn't really know, like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that, right? Or if you pop the wrong bubble, right? So, oh, I'm supposed to pop this guy, but let's just say I pop this one. It would reset, but you wouldn't see, like, now you see that little red ring to kind of like tell you, oh, that's the wrong bubble. So, or if you just press the space bar, I press a key out. It doesn't have to be space bar. I can press any key actually. But it would be like, if I miss the bubble, sometimes in my head, like I thought I hit it, but really I didn't. I missed the bubble. So now you'll see like a little red indicator telling you like you missed. And the thing is, I'm thinking like, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, we're on a roll here. Streak. Okay, blew it. All right, so the thing though is like I felt like the indicator itself doesn't really give you a super clear like idea of exactly what happened. Like, did I miss? Did I hit the wrong bubble? Like what happened here? So I'm thinking now maybe I could just do like a little animation. And just try like like we could try an animation where it doesn't expand too fast, right? Like it would expand like kind of slowly at first and then ramp up outside to kind of give you a little more like, okay, here's the exact spot. Because right now it's just a linear, the animation is just linear, right? Like, so the circle is expanding. This circle expands just linearly, right? Just like as time goes, the circle, the circle grows by the same size every frame, right? So what I want to pull up the little graphing calculator here for is I can maybe just figure out a better equation to use. Because if I do, okay, so if I do y equals x squared, for example, versus, let's just do y equals x, right? So y equals x is what's happening right now. So we're concerning ourselves here only with from 0 to 1. So where these 2 points meet, right? So right now, the circle's size grows quite a bit, right? And then, or it just compared to this equation, right? Like this would mean the size of the circle is like slower at first. Like this would be the, as we go up y here, that's our radius increasing in size, right? So like here, initial bit of time, it wouldn't have moved too much. So I think even doing y equals square of x, or y equals x squared, t squared, I'll call it t for our equation. That would already be a much slower grow of the circle radius, right? And if we can just keep ramping it up, so we can do like cubed, and like even here, it just would be way slower to grow at first. Let's try cubed and see how it feels. So what I will do is, here's our size animation, and just to do cubed, I'm just going to do t times t times t. So basically, this equation function here, this is a little function. So t comes in, that's time. That's our time step. It's not our time step, but it's, as we increment to a new frame every tick of this animation, so it's going to come up with a new value for that radius every time. So as we step along here, whatever the new time value that comes in, we're going to output the cube of that. So we're going to multiply it times itself twice. to give us a value more like this, or what would be an output value more like this. So the change of the radius for the first like 20% of our timer, because our timer is going to go all the way till 1. This represents the end of time, the end of the animation. This represents the beginning of the animation. So for this whole like first 20% of the animation, it's barely going, the circle's barely going to have grown. And this might actually be bad, but we will see exactly how it looks right now. So we did cubed, right? So now, ooh. And then it gets really fast towards the end, right? I mean, that looks kind of cool. It looks kind of cool, but I don't know how functional it is from like a... So let's just play a little bit and feel it. Oh, yeah, that's too... It's too fast. What did I do? 75? Oh, no, that's the radius. Yeah, we're doing 400 milliseconds now. Maybe we go back to 600 milliseconds. Or... All right, so we're just scaling our animation time up here a little bit. So now... Okay, so now it looks like that when you mess up. Burnt. Hit the wall. Burnt. So let's just play a little bit. Oop, messed up. That gives you a little bit of a better idea like where you were when you messed up, I think. Because it kind of hugs in real tight at first, so you can kind of know that's exactly where my mouse cursor was when I messed up, right? So you should be able to see like, oh, this is green, this is the bubble I'm supposed to pop, right? But so maybe I missed overshot green just a hair. Now you can tell like, oh, now I see that indicator just a hair outside of green, so I know I missed it. I know that's why I messed up. Because when you play fast, you really, oh yeah, like actually that's not bad. I like that because I was trying to go like really fast there and I could tell, oh, I messed up. You know, press the key way at the wrong time. And it's throwing the red circle whenever I release the mouse too. So that's what I'm doing to reset it, right? So that feels pretty good because now I've got it kind of on lock, but like when I messed up, there I just overshot green a little bit, and I could tell. I was able to tell that I overshot green just a little bit. Actually, these are both green, but yeah, I can see like, oh, whoa, hit the wrong one there. Whoa, that looked pretty close. Out, missed it a little bit. Yeah, and then if I like miss it here and then I start dragging, well, then I hit, so I messed up back here, which reset it. So like my drag was reset and didn't, needed to be reset again, whatever. I really need to eat some food. Anyway, man, this was going to just be a couple hour stream. It's 3 hours already. Getting carried away. But making good progress. Fixed the animation for sure on... Yeah, I think I'm going to start wrapping things up here now. Well, right off the bat, we fixed this thing, which the issues with the using the values here when the bubbles would slide and everything. Which really was only an issue when I slowed the animations way down, for example. That's how I even found it, but it helped me go back and clear up some stuff that I knew I needed to do anyway and didn't, so it kind of lit the fire under my shorts to do that. So we fixed that. That's good. So now these positions and animations here should be on point. Nothing should screw those up. And we added the little indicator. That's pretty much all we did. That's pretty much all we did today. I think there might have been something in between there. We added this indicator, right? Our new little red indicator, which also, actually, before I end, what I really should do I'm not currently not destructing. Well, honestly, nothing is getting destructed properly right now because there's no way to quit the game. Once you start, there's no way to end the game currently. That's kind of a minor detail, though. I already have something in place to do that. I'm not really too focused on taking care of that right now. But what I need to figure out, I'll just write it down. It'll be in my task list for next time, I guess. Do I have my pencil? Sorry, I keep hitting the mic stand. Pencil. Got it. I always use the Papermate Sharp Writer, number 2. Pencil of choice. Let that focus a little bit. Not going to focus? All right. You know how it is. The mechanical ones, that where you twist the tip, you know? I got to put my PC specs and everything down in my Twitch description and my pencil choice. Papermate Sharp Writer. Number 2, of course. Okay, so I need to figure out how I want to destruct, because destruct is very important to call that on entities when you are done with them, because that's how they pull out tell the global event emitter, hey, get rid of my events. Like, get rid of my events. That's not exactly the correct verbiage, I would say, for that, but close enough. Otherwise, the global event emitter will just keep those objects hanging out there forever. So what's happening right now that's pretty bad is these, like all of these little circles I'm drawing. Like, we could probably tank our frame rate after a while just by firing a bunch of these up. Yes. All right, I'm back. We got to wrap stuff up here. So, and maybe I'm misunderstanding exactly how it might be like a lot of these you'd have to do before you'd really start to tank performance. But like all of these circles, they're still in the drawing queue, right, of entities that need to be drawn to the screen, right? Even though they're gone, I'm not getting rid of them somehow. I'm not pulling them out of that state. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do to get rid of those. Hi. Hi. I'm wrapping stuff up. Okay. It's okay. All right. So I basically just need to write down that I need to destruct cursor crash indicators for next time. And I only fixed one of the things I wanted to fix today, but I think I have another feature I want to add maybe for next time, because I think it's actually kind of important from a gameplay standpoint. So let me just write this down quick. Sorry, just writing. Hang on, can't talk and write at the same time. So I need to figure out how I want to destruct those. Now the obvious thing would be destruct when it's done, right? When it's done with the animation. And that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. The one thing is, in fact, I could probably just do it right now, but I want to put a little more time into looking at it first. Because oh, that just reminded me of something. These animations actually destruct themselves by default. Yes, they destruct themselves when they expire, when the time runs out. So that's actually nice. So actually, I probably don't need to do call destruct on these. So, but I do need to destruct the cursor crash indicator because at the end of the day, that is a circle. So it's a drawable object that's just hanging out there trying to draw over and over again. It's invisible because its alpha is set to 0 because that circle expands and fades out, right? But it's still being drawn to the screen. So that will be something to address for next time. And hopefully the next stream, this will probably be just Monday now, so 2 days from now. That'll be that's my big stream day. And Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday at usually 9 or 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, CST. Oh, we're on Daylight Time, Central Daylight Time currently. Otherwise, I might do a little stream tomorrow, maybe, potentially, too. We'll see. But we'll fix that, and we will fix... I'd like to add the bubbles that have been popped, but you haven't reached the next checkpoint yet, so it's a potential that you'd still have to pop those bubbles again if you mess up. I'd like to keep those bubbles like up here somehow, like smaller. Like, so as you pop this bubble, instead of it fading out into the ether, it would like just shrink down to like a little size, and you'd kind of see it up here like, oh, that bubble's there. In case I screw up, I have to, I will have to pop that bubble again. And then that way, when you make it to the next checkpoint, those bubbles would then, those little pop shriveled up bubbles would then slide off, whisk off into the ether then, or just slide off screen, whatever. And then you would that'd be a nice little extra indicator to say, yeah, you made it to the next checkpoint. Great job. So that'll be for next time, probably. Unless I think of some other fantastic idea to implement. None of the ideas are fantastic. Just doing what I can. But for now, I think I'm hanging things up, throwing in the towel. It's been almost 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is longer than I thought I was going to stream. So, all right. So thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Later.